watching the CBS 58 News at noon.
This is a live look at the polling place at Wauwatosa's Annunciation Greek Orthodox Church. We've seen long lines here since the polls opened at 7, and with so many important issues at play in Wisconsin and around the country, we anticipate long lines all day long. Good afternoon. I'm Montse Ricosa. Mike Strelo and Amanda Porterfield will be part of our election coverage later today. The polls are open across Wisconsin until 8 tonight, and even though tens of thousands of people have voted early, turnout appears to be heavy at the polls today. Of course, there are two major statewide races on the ballot. Incumbent Democratic Governor Tony Evers is running for a second term against Republican business executive Tim Michels. The latest polls show this race is just about even. The race for one of Wisconsin's U.S. Senate seats is also very close. Two-term Republican incumbent Ron Johnson faces a challenge from Democratic Lieutenant Governor Mandela Barnes. We will hear more from and about the candidates after the polls close, but right now the voters are having their say. We have team coverage focused on the voters, including the efforts to make sure anyone who wants to vote can get to a polling place. And we start with today's turnout. CBS 58's Frank Healy, who's live in Wauwatosa at a polling place that's been very busy. Frank?
Yes, we are here at the Grand Hall Center of Milwaukee in Wauwatosa, and behind me here is that line that we've been talking about. Just want to step out of the way here so you guys can take a look at all this. Poll workers tell me this is a lot more than they were initially expecting, and it's more than normal here. Poll workers say 4 wards and District 8 are all voting here. They say the atmosphere is like your typical presidential election, with voters waiting 20 to 25 minutes to vote, something they say you usually don't see in a midterm. Voters say the lines don't deter them, however.
It's worth the wait. It's definitely worth the wait, because that's what we're supposed to do. We are devoted to take care of our people and the Constitution of the United States of America. And voting is one of the ways we can do that.
Yeah, I think it's always important to try to vote. I think if you aren't liking what's going on, you should use your duty and try to change it or continue the good work that they are doing.
And while some voters say that they try and come out for every election, others felt like this was a more important election than usual. Some of the poll workers were telling me that they were hearing a lot of chatter about, of course, the economy, inflation, abortion also as well. But another thing, well, that marijuana referendum that is on the ballot. Live in Wauwatosa, Frank Healy, CBS 58 News.
Thanks, Frank. Tim Michels cast his vote shortly after 8 this morning at the Village Hall in Shaniqua. Michels spent the last full campaign day at 5 different rallies, ending up in Kenosha, a city he has made a big focal point of his campaign, criticizing Governor Evers for his response to the violence there in 2020. Michels' Vote Watch Party tonight will be in Milwaukee at the Italian Community Center. Tony Evers was scheduled to vote in Madison a short time ago. This is video from last night as the governor wrapped up his statewide bus tour with stops in Milwaukee and Madison. While those are Democrat strongholds where he's expected to get a lot of support, Evers also says he's gaining support in rural parts of the state, places that often tend to be Republican. There are always voters who want to cast their ballot, but for whatever reason have a hard time getting out. And Milwaukee Souls to the Polls is one organization helping those people. CBS 58's Yukari Nakayama is live at Holt Park in Milwaukee with the story of one 84-year-old woman making sure everyone's voice is heard. Yukari?
Yeah, that's right, Monse. Annette Allman-Stike will be driving people from Southeast Wisconsin to the polls all day, and she's doing so because she feels like it's her duty. Now, Annette has been started her rides early this morning, driving from Sheboygan County to her first stop here on the south side. She's using her wheelchair accessible car to help those with mobility issues. Her van belonged to her late husband, who was wheelchair bound, and decided to put her van to use this year. She's doing so in part for the Souls to the Polls organization, and this is her first year with the organization and says it won't be her last. And she explains what compelled her to lend a helping hand.
I'm thrilled that people are trying to help conserve our precious democracy and willing to come out under all circumstances to vote. And how can I say no? If I can help, I'm here.
And her day is far from over, having a lot of people on her list to drive to and from polls. For now, live here in Milwaukee, Yukari Nakayama, CBS 58 News.
Thank you very much, you got it. There's been a stronger push this year to make early voting and absentee voting easier, and voters in the Milwaukee area have responded. Today, some 90,000 absentee ballots will be counted, and that doesn't count for those that are dropped off or arriving today. CBS 58 Stephanie Rodriguez joins us live from Milwaukee Central Count with a look at how that works.
Monse, now between the absentee ballots that are being counted right here behind me at the Wisconsin Center and those hitting the polls today, midterm turnout for voters this election season is expected to be high. Now, earlier today, the Milwaukee Election Commission held a press conference, now breaking down the expectations for this midterm election. Now, when it comes to when we can expect counts for the absentee ballots specifically, they wouldn't give any specific details, only a time frame of between 10 and 12 tonight. There is no expectation this counting will be done quicker than in 2020, despite there being a 170,000 absentee ballots that year compared to the 60,000 returned as of yesterday, according to the Election Commission. Now, when it comes to the election process, the city is confident in their ability to be both effective and reliable.
I don't think there is any industry with greater scrutiny or more under a microscope than elections. In terms of the integrity election, I would say the public should go with what is factual and not what is speculative or allegations or accusations. The city of Milwaukee has an amazing track record of election performance when it comes to election integrity, and that has not changed.
Now, we're told that all 180 polling sites here in the city of Milwaukee were operational by 7 this morning, and there were no issues with the voting equipment. Now, also showing out this midterm, poll observers. Now, Albright, who you just heard from, says he doesn't have a specific numbers of observers this election, but he has been getting calls from people at the poll sites asking how many observers are allowed at each location. The answer: there really is no limit. It all just depends on how many each poll site can accommodate. Live in Milwaukee, Stephanie Rodriguez, CBS 58 News.
Now, while voters may have to worry about long lines, at least they don't have to worry about any serious weather when they go to the polls today. Meteorologist Rebecca Scholl joins us with a check of the Elections Day forecast. Rebecca?
And you know, Monse, the most notable weather feature as you head out to the polls today, it's going to be the wind. You can see that wind gusts so far today have been running around 25 miles per hour. So that is something that will continue for the rest of the afternoon and even into the early evening hours. Temperature-wise, we're looking at mostly 40s across the viewing area. A couple spots, though, from Watertown down to Burlington and Kenosha. Now pushing that 50-degree mark, sitting at 51 degrees as we continue to take a look through your morning to the current time. We've had some cloud cover passing through, and that'll be the trend that will also continue for the rest of your day. Fair weather clouds, no wet weather expected. 49 in Milwaukee with the southeast wind right now coming in 17 miles per hour. So just making it feel a little bit chilly. You'll certainly want a jacket as you head out the door and go out and about voting or whatever you need to get done on this Tuesday. You can see again, topside view, those clouds that will be streaming through at times, but wet weather well to the west. So again, a dry day expected, and as we continue through the rest of the afternoon, most of us should be able to push up into the lower parts of the 50s. And then we'll be talking about a brief warm up and potentially another couple of days around 70 degrees, believe it or not. And then we'll be tracking a chance for some wet weather. And then the bottom falling out with the coldest weather we have felt so far this season, something that could be with us for the foreseeable future. We'll have more details on that part of the forecast coming up in Ready Weather.
Of course, today is Election Day, not just in Wisconsin, but across the country. Voters in many states have been energized by several issues. An estimated 40 million American people voted before Election Day. Still, crowds at the polls are expected to be large, possibly a record-setting turnout. What's driving that turnout? What's on voters' minds? According to CBS News polling, the leading issues include crime, inflation, and the economy.
The reason to be going to vote today is to correct these self-inflicted wounds that absolutely were not necessary.
Some of the issues that concern me as a citizen of Ohio are, of course, abortion, you know, just the right to have autonomy over one's body.
With many races razor tight, election officials are asking for patience, saying it may take some time to count all the ballots. So make sure to join us throughout the day and into tonight for our live team coverage of the midterm election. You can also find all of our election reporting online at CBS58.com.